Dima is a doctor, a professional doctor. He created the system of health management, which by the name of it, the system implies that it's a good systemized knowledge about health. These basic principles of health mainly derived from physiology, and when we talk about physiology, we should understand we talk about general principles of life. That's how life operates. So these are kind of these bigger laws of nature that it's very hard to argue with because they are fully manifested. Knowing them helps us to extrapolate them to other realms than physiology. So you'll see that we can apply similar rules in our families and how we build businesses, and literally the way neurons interact in our brain can give us a good set of rules of how we can build complex operations in business, in production, in communities, anywhere, because the same simple rules apply. So I thought it would be great to know the system and to know these rules, so we know how to sustain our health. And also we expand our understanding of meditation, because practice of silence, as we are going to talk about today, may well not be known by many people. But knowing the principles behind, knowing how this practice of silence is presented by the system of health management developed by Dima, will open the whole new dimension of understanding what meditation may be like and how you can make it more successful, and what actually happens while you are in silence. And so you can make better use of your time and, of course, improve quality of life, because that's what the system is for.
My scientific work started from investigations in the field of stem cell biology, of regenerative medicine. That I was a famous scientist in Russia who started this work in Russia in general, and I was a chief of Center of Biomedical Science in our greatest university, first Moscow State Medical University, named by Ivan Mikhailovich Sechenov. We worked a lot with stem cells, with regeneration, and when we worked with regeneration, we discovered that the regeneration process can be easily reopened by our self-regulation. So, and I was inspired that some people have a normal regeneration, some of them have a normal regeneration, and I wondered why it's so. I started my own research. I tried to understand how regeneration regulates and reopened physiology for myself. I started to work with my self-regulation and with my self-regeneration of my body, and I reopen science traditions for myself. I want to show you very short video about our system. It's just 2 minutes, but it's really a helpful video to open basic principles of self-regulation.
We may be physically close, however, without emotional connection, we are infinitely far apart. Modern means of communication may disconnect us even more. This affects the state of our families, our children, health, self-actualization, and finances. This affects collaboration within companies, communities, and whole countries. This is so because we are strongly attached to our expectations about the world based on our past. We have lots of expectations from ourselves and life. I must earn $1 million, buy a car, a house, get married, have a child, and be happy at the same time. Our expectations never 100% match reality. This causes negative emotions which also do not fit with our ideal self. We suppress these feelings, trying to be someone else, putting on a mask of external success. Talking to others, we pretend that everything is fine, spending all our energy sustaining a happy person's role. We fall into self-deceit, lose connection with our feelings and with what truly is going on in our lives. We feel empty. In attempt to fill in this emptiness, we use food and alcohol, medicine, violence, drugs, sex, and money. Thus, we end up in addiction. Our connection with close ones deteriorates, and we find ourselves in deep solitude. To solve this problem, we have created the system of health management, uniting like-minded people all over the world. Together we learn to reconnect with our feelings and sincerely express them to each other. As a result, we restore our wholeness and tune to ourselves, reconnect emotionally with close ones, and heal relationships with others. This improves health and brings new opportunities for self-actualization. Our positive changes via mirror neurons automatically improve the lives of people around us. SOS community is a social network where we learn to share our feelings, accepting each other with maximum honesty in all respects. Join us, share your feelings with the world. SOS is a scientifically based system founded by Doctor Dmitry Shamenkov.
I think everyone will question also how this whole thing might be related to our awakened mind training and what we do with the mind mirror. And literally, I was thinking about it and realized that, yes, we find ourselves now in very highly paced times and information overabundance. Speed of incoming information is unimaginable. It's too much even to process everything. We are unable to do that anymore. And in all that, we are constantly driven by external stimuli, and we lose the focus. We lose what is really important, what we should focus on, not to get lost, to find our way, not to be overstressed with these demands and speed of life and keep up with life in general. Dima's system gives you this orientation, gives you the keys, how you can stay healthy, how you can still self-actualize in these difficult times. It's not easy. And again, I'll mention that, okay, these times, they mean that we are constantly in beta. We are caught up. We are thinking, logically planning, trying to do many things at once, and it does disconnect us from our alpha, right? From our senses, our feelings, our bodies. We are too much in our minds, and we may be caught up in this, our artificial reality that we created, being disconnected from ourselves, our bodies, our inner wisdom, what our truth, what we truly want, not what others want us to buy, consume, produce, etc., but what do we want? How do we want creatively participate and realize our potential as creative beings on earth, rather than fighting, struggling, competing, doing some real constructive creative stuff. And then we of course disconnect from bigger nature scene, bigger universe. Where is the whole evolution going? We just live in our little square box full of these ideas about money, about expectations, how other people should behave, and we are confused. We don't know, as I said, how to operate in these times and how to relate to each other, how to relate to this reality. And that's what I like, because it talks about the same thing. You get out of your little mind box, overloaded with, sometimes just too much, overloaded, overstimulated in beta, getting back to your senses, to your feelings, finding connection to yourself, find the ways to communicate to others your truth without any manipulations and competition and dishonesty. And then you connect, of course, with the higher nature, with like what's going on a country level, what's going on a planetary level, where we are heading as human beings. So it really expands your role, expands your life, makes it richer on every level. I want to speak out loud major principles, and there will be quite a few of them. They're like pearls that you can put together, and they're all related to each other. So our reality is defined or determined from what we actually perceive. So when we sense something from the physiological point of view, it's our past. What you are seeing at the present moment is not a fresh snapshot of the world, but rather an average of what you've seen in the past 10 to 15 seconds. We perceive reality approximately with 10-15 seconds delay. The modern technologies allowed us to measure the electrical potentials in the brain, which showed that centers responsible for decision making are activated at least 7 seconds before we realize that we are going to make this particular decision. So it shows that literally we not only perceive external world with a delay, we perceive our internal decisions, thoughts, intentions with a delay. It is our goal which sets the filter to what we will see, which has the focus for what we pick from the reality. It's not the past stimuli. Of course, we are connected and shaped by our past. It's the future result, adaptive result, which is driving our perception and behavior. We have this ability to anticipate the future events through the goal. When you think about the word goal, it's one of the central concepts in the system, in physiology in general. The goal, even in English, sounds very close to whole, right? Goal, whole. So through goal, we connect to our wholeness. We kind of stop losing ourselves, stop being torn into pieces by these external stimuli. We kind of get this focus, get this orientation that takes us in the future, takes us to adaptive result in the future. So it helps us to adapt and evolve eventually. And in Russian, the word healing is also related to getting back to your wholeness. When you heal, you actually restore your wholeness. That's what it means. And you can see this kind of logical chain from the word goal, then wholeness, and then healing. They all are connected. Talking about goals, we have to remember every single living system, living being wants to stay healthy, and it means we all want to survive. We all want to evolve. And that's the common universal goal for all living systems. And within the system of health management, it's also important to understand that we look at a broader definition of health here, not just lack of diseases. It's a state of optimal or best possible life activity and creative self-actualization with a positive emotional tone. So we talk about actually being not just healthy, but being happy, being self-actualized. So what's the mechanism behind which helps us to get to this adaptive result? So what nature provides to help us? And this is this golden rule really of self-regulation. So we are constantly returned to the optimum level. And that's our physiology. And here I pointed out including feedback. So we constantly are getting feedback as well from nature to say whether how far we are from the optimal level. We need to get back. It's pushing us back to our right path. From the point of view of physiology, it's definitely a norm because all forces of nature are pushing us back to norm, back to balance, back to health. Famous Russian physiologist Sechenov said that it's impossible to separate organism from its environment. Even the definition of organism should include its environment. We change atoms with the environment, and we may think that we're still the same physical body that we were born. We renew our cells every 7 to 10 years. So in reality, you can say that your body is only 7 to 10 years old. So it will take you to the next important point that was well presented by Konstantin Sudakov, that information process is the primary essence of man. So on the physical level, we are continuously changed and renewed. But what is preserved is the information.
Everything what we're talking about persists only in informational field. And the informational process reflects the interconnection between information and energy reflects in the matter. We are interconnected on the all levels of reality. So
we exist in information matrix. This information permeates every possible level of existence. This is the law of holographic unity of all creation, formulated by, again, Konstantin Sudakov, that from the atom to the cosmic level, functional systems of low hierarchy, inactivity of their elements, reflect the activity of functional systems of high hierarchy, uniting them. The latter, in turn, program the activity of subordinate and closed functional systems. So when we talk about functional system, just think of your body. Your body is a collection of various systems of organs and cells, and they all work together to sustain your life. So every human being is this functional system. But at the same time, we know that we are also part of social systems. We are part of a bigger nature system. We are part of a bigger universe. So we are not existing in isolation on our own. We are also programmed by higher levels of hierarchy within this information matrix. That's what we should remember. And in the context of goal that we just discussed, we should remember that our goal most likely will be programmed by our parents, by society, by environmental circumstances we are placed in. Learning from this, for me personally, is not just seeing my body as a collection of molecules, cells, organs, working together in symphony to keep me healthy, but it's also me as a cell for the society, which is a bigger organism in a way, which is also functioning. That's the problem, because we stop seeing ourselves as that. We see us as very, very separate and disconnected from other higher levels. That's why physiology gives us some good examples of how you can relate, communicate with each other, so you can get very good results. The major problem actually happens when we get stuck with our past, and instead of having a true goal coming from the future, we keep running the loop from this past, trying to adjust or adapt the reality towards us, to dictate the reality the way we expect it to be, to dictate other people. And this, of course, causes, as I said, lots of fighting. It causes lots of conflict. It causes lots of negative emotions. And of course, we don't like these negative emotions. We think they shouldn't be part of my reality. Ideal world shouldn't include me being negative, me feeling bad, me feeling guilty. So we suppress these emotions. We feel isolated. We feel we need to prove our righteousness, to defend our position, say everyone is wrong, the world is not fair, I can't be happy in this world. And it's a really vicious cycle that eventually disconnects us from higher systems who supply us with not just information, it's also energy for our future result, for adaptation, for self-actualization. We deprive ourselves of all these things and get sick. We are stressed, we are anxious. It manifests on physical level, it manifests in our relationships because we hardly find the connection with other people. Basically, the major origin of the problems is in separation and disconnection. And we are not synchronized with reality. We lost this grip with reality. And it's no surprise why we feel worse and worse, and we end up in addictions and trying to reconcile and defend ourselves. So that's where we are.
It's origin of violence in our life. When we are trying to force the reality and to make it something different, we lost the dialogue with the reality. We just want to predict reality, but the reality predicts us. And the main idea is about dialogue. Because of the higher levels, it's not about dictate of higher.
So I understand, Dima, it's like the flow of information. Like we talk about the flow of energy and information when we talk about awakened mind, he's talking about this flow and dialogue of us and others, because we may think of obligations as something cut in stone, but actually our obligations are just our agreements with other people. So if we learn to communicate properly, honestly, we can always rearrange our agreements with other people at any moment. More about this ability to recognize your feelings, recognize the feedback from reality. The message coming may say something is going wrong. It's not the result that you wanted. It's absolutely fine to open up and communicate honestly without trying to fight and push and say it should be my way only. No, it's a way of interaction and communication, and that's how it works in physiology. You know, our cells find the agreement. If they don't find the agreement, we end up with cancer and all other stuff. We should stop fighting our unacceptance and saying you should be this, you should be that, and these are ideas most likely coming from our past. Nobody should be a certain way to us, like we shouldn't be a certain way to others. We just have to accept what is, because sensory present is our past. Before we even know, the movie is over and the train is gone already, and you're trying to catch up with the train that's far away already. And like, what's the purpose of fighting and struggling? And no purpose there. So we have to learn to accept. It's very hard because we all want things to be our way. We're quite stubborn in our minds and egos. And another thing, when we sit in this position of unacceptance, we also tend to be manipulative and dishonest. We don't have this grip with reality. We're lost synchronization. We are full of distortions. Our mind has these pictures that blur the true picture of what's going on. And we have to be dishonest. We start lying and pretending we are this, pretending we are that, trying to make ourselves fit. We need to accept, learn even to accept our own distortions, because we are not perfect. Learn to accept our own negative emotions, understanding this is just feedback from reality, trying to self-regulate and push us on the right path. There is nothing wrong there. Dishonesty is critical, because honesty implies 100% accuracy of communication. So imagine if the signal from your brain doesn't reach your muscle, the set of information traveling, the message is screwed up along the way, your muscle will not work properly. So you will end up with illness. And that's what happens when we lie in normal life or distort information. It comes back in excessive negative feedback and all kinds of symptoms. It comes back as stress. So it makes our life more difficult. The artificial world you're trying to sustain, it takes lots of energy of yours, lots of health of yours. And here we'll talk about practice of silence. Finally, we have to remember about goal. We set and focus on healthy goal. And we remember that it's non-violent goal because every living being wants to be healthy and survive. And this healthy goal is always in the present. So it should instantly change our perception. Say, when we find ourselves in conflict with someone, you should remind yourself, do I really want to fight? Is fighting my goal? Or do I want to come to a certain agreement, or do I want to come to a certain result? And I better remind myself and the other person, hey, we have common goal. We want to get to that result. And if we, for example, if we both want to be healthy, we better don't commit violence against each other, including some, psychological or mental violence with trying to push ideas and I'm right and you are wrong. And it implies we listen. We interact, we open up, we do our best to listen and sustain this healthy perception. So then acceptance, we listen and we accept what we are. We let go of obligation, so we stop expecting the world to be different. We stop fighting with the past because it's ridiculous. We stay honest. We learn to connect with our feelings, to just say how we see things, how they are. That's how I feel. That's my reality in the moment, because all the mental concepts, they'll take you away, but your senses, they are closest to now, closest to reality, really. The best indicators, the best feedback you can rely on. So you learn to connect with your feelings, and you learn to honestly communicate, keeping in mind common goals. A goal, let's remind, it's not only drives our perception and behavior, organizations are built around the goals, right? Systems are built around the goals. When we mention physiology, functional systems, we imply that we become much more powerful with a group of people who support our values, who are open for these healthy goals and healthy communication. So when we talk about practice of silence, we're talking about synchronizing with this reality. So now that we got on another bump, we received some feedback, and we need to sit and find the balance back. We need to find the true goals. We are in conflict with someone, and instead of keeping fighting, it's better to find some quiet space, find some time, and look what's going on inside of you. What are your true goals? Do you really want to keep fighting? Do you want to keep proving your righteousness, or losing your health along the way, by the way? Or you want to sustain your organism on healthy level. You want your organism to restore its wholeness, to restore its self-regulatory function, to push back regeneration processes. And the key things to remember here, first of all, when we run along the problem, distortion, we need to see these distortions. Mindful recognition of these distortions is healing in itself. And you don't really need to do much. You need to find some time, quiet space, and remember about your healthy goal. Set a healthy goal. Remind yourself. Set the right focus for the whole exercise. Many people ask, are there any special rules? Because they are used to be conditioned by external world. Shall I sit in a certain position? Shall I do this? Can I move? Can I blink my eye? Really, there are no rules. There is no right way, because as soon as we start talking about certain position, it will be kind of obligation. If someone can do it while walking in the forest, no problem. If you can do it while swimming in the ocean, do it while swimming in the ocean. And you can do it while dancing, just connecting with yourself with healthy goals and listening. When should I do that? When you realize the need. You may do it regularly if you have serious health problems and it helped others, and I know that you can do it whenever you need it most. Remember, it's obligation-free time, because we are so caught up in this world. We have to do this, we have to do that, we are parents, we are employees, we are involved in all kinds of roles and relationships. So you can give yourself a break, and literally, if you take 10-15 minutes out of any busy day, just to say, this 15 minutes, I'm absolutely free. I'm with myself. I am looking inside and I see what distortions I have. I see what feelings have built up, because usually we're even so busy, we run away from our feelings, we suppress them, we let them come up through the surface, we let this information just flow, pass through us. Whatever comes up, even if it's negative, it's something that needs to be released. All that will help you to restore this natural healing mechanism, restore the flow, restore self-regulation and regenerations. This practice works best, so it's most efficient when you do it in a group of like-minded people who share healthy goals and agree on the principles of acceptance or obligation-free communication and honesty. Like same self-regulation in a way on a social level, just trying to push you back to your truth. And then also, you know that when people want to learn certain skills or overcome certain problems, it's always better when you do it with other people, because you think, oh, I'm the only one with this problem. I'm the only one afraid to do public speeches. I'm the only one afraid to start new business. And then you find, oh, great, I'm not the only one. Others have similar fears, similar problems, and that's what it is. So it's highly recommended to share your feelings, experiences with such a group after practice of silence.
I'm happy to connect with you, and I hope that we can reconnect the world in general, because we have a lot of problems around the world and people want to fight with each other. But we can make an open dialogue and we can listen to each other and we can share it with others. So it's everything about non-violence, about acceptance, about meditation, about honesty on all levels, about integrity. It's a kind of reinventing of ourselves. So it's not about something differently new, and it's about open dialogue, it's about groups, about sharing circles, about movement to reconnect to ourselves. So I hope that we can do something together, and I can help you to share your knowledge, and I hope that you also can help us to do it. So I'm happy person to be with you and to share with you this moment of my life, and thank you very much.